Okay.
Right, yeah. I've just said welcome to everyone. Go to item 1 on the agenda to accept apologies and reasons for absence. Do we have
No,
any?
I don't have any apologies.
Right, yeah. We're not all here yet, are we? But anyway, number 2, receive declaration of interest on items on the agenda. Does anyone have any? No, no. I'll put mine down. This is number 22, the Bridge Trust. I'm a Bridge trustee. Right, item 3 on the agenda, public participation session. Have we had anyone apply, Heather?
No, we haven't.
Right, yeah. We move on to item 4 on the agenda to approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 4th of March. You've all been sent those.
I'll move them.
You move them, thank you. Is there a seconder? Thank you. Anyone wish to raise any items on there before we go to the vote? No? Sorry, Shirley.
Thank you, but this is a matter arising. Do you want me to do that now?
We don't actually have matters arising as such on the agenda. Yes, if you want to raise it now, by all means.
Yeah, oh, it's just about the item, my notice of motion about the dog waste bin. It's just, I mean, I don't know if Heather's bringing anything up or yourself later, but just to say that that letter has gone, but also before the letter went, because of various other things that happened, a dog waste bin has actually gone in as a trial. TDC have emphasised it's a trial, and they'll have to see how well used it is and that it's not abused, but they have agreed to put a bin in there as a trial. So thank you to everybody that was party to getting that done. And I know the letter's gone, and I don't know if there'll be any update as a result of that, but just to let people know. Thank you.
Congratulations. Right, we'll go to the vote then. All those in favour of accepting those minutes? I make that 13. Is that right, Heather?
I think if it's unanimous, it's 14. I believe we've got 14 councillors here.
Okay, are you voting? All right.
Is that 14?
That's unanimous now, yeah.
Heather, we're down 2. We're down Dermot and we're down Jamie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
so 13. It is
that
unanimous.
would be 13 then. Yeah, sorry, 13. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we move on then to item 5 on the agenda, accounts. They've been sent out to you. You've all got them before you. Anyone wish to raise any points on those? No? Right, I'll propose that we accept them from the chair. Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
Doug. Right, all those in favour, if you can show. That's unanimous again. Thank you. Right. We move on. Item 6 on the agenda to receive a verbal report from the fire service. And this is Mark Sanders. I did see you. There you are. Yes. Hello, Mark. I think Heather's told you how long you've got. It's quite a long agenda tonight. So if you can stick to that, we'd be very grateful. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the meeting tonight. Try and steer clear of the word COVID if we can, but obviously it's been a while since we've been able to catch up. So I just wanted to have a quick catch up with yourselves, and if there's any issues or questions you want to ask me whilst I'm here. Just wanted to talk through where we are as the fire service. Over the last few years, we've had some challenging times in terms of the budget we're getting set from the government and how the priorities have changed in terms of some of the national events like the Grenfell Towers tragedy. And internally, we've had a bit of a restructure in the service, which, you know, I'll get you small violins out, has meant my role has doubled. So we now look after sort of 5 stations, which is why, unfortunately, we're less and less able to come to these sort of meetings. So I wanted to make an effort tonight to be here. I just wanted to quickly touch on Bideford as a station. As you know, they're one of our busiest stations in the area. In March, they attended 29 incidents, which is you know, almost averaging 1 a day, and today they've been out 3 times already. So it's been a busy little time. A general mix of the usual, really, the fires and the road traffic collisions, and assisting our partner agencies, as we did today at Northern Boroughs, rescuing a lady from the mud. One of the big things that we just wanted to touch on is one of the areas that has changed recently in the service is with our on-call staff, which is the majority of our 81 fire stations. We're moving to a scheme called Pay for Availability. This scheme basically it reflects more the availability of our staff that they provide per hour rather than an on-call retainer. Nationally, recruiting on-call firefighters has become a real problem because of the changes in employment. People don't work and live in the same towns. Employers are less likely to allow staff to leave, leave to attend incidents. So nationally, it's been a real big issue. So our service has been sort of a bit of a trailblazer in coming up with a scheme that's we're hoping will help recruit and retain our staff. And so far, so good. And it's really positive feedback. And a bit if they aren't yet on that scheme, but we're looking to move a number of our stations across to that scheme over the next 12 to 18 months. And we've already got probably, I think it's about 20 already on the scheme. So just a bit of an insight into that really. And I thought I'd keep it short and brief. And if there's any issues or questions for me.
Thank you. Any questions? No. Oh, Joel.
Sorry, it's not my computer. I was just wondering, Mark, how's it going down in Appledore? Is there any news on that, or is it going to remain open, that station?
So it's one of my stations to look after as well. So just a potted quick history. So we had the Safer Together programme for the fire service, which is a range of measures that the fire authority had to look at and decide where best our priorities were. And a number of stations were looked at as being possible closure stations, of which you quite rightly point out, Joe, was Appledore. Now, at the moment, that's been taken back. So Appledore not under threat of closure currently. Obviously, going forward, you never know. I can't say forever it's off the table, but I want to make it clear there's no plans for that to come back on the table. But I'm not, I can't look through my crystal ball to see if that's likely to change. So no, so they're not under threat of closure at the moment. In fact, they're one of the stations that have gone onto the new system I was just talking about. We're recruiting quite well down at the moment, so we're managing to get our numbers and our availability up to a really good level now.
Cheers.
Thank you. Councillor Bushby.
Thank you, Chair. One question, Mark. You mentioned just now the Bideford is one of your busiest stations with 3 shouts today. Well, given the ever-growing population of the Bideford area in general and all the housing development planned for the next few years, do you think you're very far away from actually making Bideford a full-time manned station similar to Barnstable?
I mean, it's a really good question, Doug. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not high enough up on the food chain to have those answers. It's not anything that's on the proposals currently. One of the assistant chief fire officers used to be the group commander for this area, so well aware of the nature of Bideford and its, like say, ever expanding status. And we've got similar towns in other parts of Devon and Somerset. Newton Abbot always springs to mind, which is always a station that's muted as well about that. So I couldn't sit here and tell you it's not always not on the cards or isn't on the cards. I've not heard anything that way, but certainly those sort of statistics are always under review, and the service is always reviewing for its community risk management plan on a 5-yearly basis, always sort of reviewing how that's looking.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. There's no other questions, so thank you, Mark, for coming. That was quite interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Right, I'll move on. We've got a second presentation. This is from Kate Blatherwick from Learn Devon. I did see Kate somewhere. Oh, yes. In the shadow. You're in the shadows, Kate, but no matter.
Yeah. Also, can you see me now?
That's better, yes.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
Thank you ever so much for inviting me.
Peter, next on the agenda is the county councillor.
Oh, sorry, yes. I've skipped over you. Sorry, Kate, I've called you too soon.
It doesn't matter, Mr. Chairman, you can carry on. I can go on after this one if you want me to. I'm here, so if she starts, she can finish.
Right, ladies first then. Thanks.
Yes.
Back to you, Kate. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you ever so much for inviting me. I've got a short presentation. It's only 5 slides. Can I share that with you?
Can we share that, Heather?
Here you are.
Yes, yeah, we can.
Can everybody see that?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm really delighted to come to this meeting. I've recently been appointed as area coordinator for North Devon area. So I've only been in post for, well, 5 months during lockdown. So I've been working from home during that whole time. And you probably know quite a lot about it, but I'm assuming that you don't. So I've just got a slide that gives a little bit of background about Learn Devon. So we've provided nationally accredited courses and qualifications for over 20 years with qualified tutors. And we work in partnership with quite a lot of other organisations, including job centres, schools, community groups, libraries. And our particular strengths are improving maths and English and IT skills and helping people back into employment as well as leisure. And we're also funded mainly by the Education Skills Funding Agency as well as learner fees. So we have 9 curriculum areas, which maths and English, GCSE and functional skills, digital skills would have been really popular over the last year, as you can imagine, employability skills, languages, arts and crafts, courses for adults with learning difficulties and disabilities, wellbeing, creative writing, and wider family learning. So obviously the COVID crisis has been quite, has presented quite a lot of challenges for Learn Devon, because all of the courses, nearly all of the courses, were face-to-face. So delivery of learning has moved online through Zoom. And one of the effects of that, one of the benefits of that, is that people can access courses across the whole of Devon, not just in their local area. So people have an opportunity to access a wider variety of courses than ever. We have been delivering small bubbles in Bideford Arts Centre for those who can't access online learning, particularly ALDD learners. And also we decided not to charge anybody anything for the courses over the pandemic. So all the courses have been free. And we've just recently put on the programme for this next term in the summer, and nearly all of them are full, kind of almost immediately. It's incredible. So we've got a number of challenges moving forward. We feel, in terms of supporting the economic recovery of Devon after the pandemic. And we will continue to offer a range of courses and qualifications and retraining of staff, building new skills and supporting those who are unemployed. And I think the way forward will be to deliver blended learning, which is a combination of both online learning and face-to-face delivery. One of the issues we've faced really is we've struggled to access the learners who we've been particularly good at in the past, those who are isolated, those who are unemployed, those who are digitally disconnected, and those who are with learning disabilities. And so we have provided people with devices, but not with connectivity, which has been an issue. So there is also a move towards, I don't know whether you know about this, but moving the library into the arts centre. And so we'll have, I think the plan was before COVID, there was originally a plan then to combine the two resources. And I think the plan is now to move forward with that over the next year. So that's my presentation. I just wonder whether anybody's got any questions. that they'd like to ask.
Right, Councillor Langford.
Hiya, thank you ever so much for that. Can I ask, now secondary schools and colleges have to have an emphasis on students making sure that they get their English and maths. Do you still find that there is the need there? Are youngsters still coming at sort of age 18, 19 who haven't managed to get English and maths that you're still having to provide for?
Yes, I mean, English and maths are, we have our largest numbers with big English and maths.
Can you tell her that the wind about?
Sorry?
Sorry, one of my councillors hadn't learned to mute himself yet.
So yes, we have great demand for English and maths, both GCSE and functional skills. So and at the moment, most of them are online. So and if they're doing English and maths, they will be provided with a laptop if they haven't got the their own equipment to do that. So it is surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. I mean, it's one of the things that once they haven't got it in that first instance, even though the pressure still remains on them at 17 and 18 to still try and get it, it's amazing how difficult it is for them to achieve it, you know. And yeah, it's just interesting to know. Thank you.
We have a range of courses throughout, you know, in the day and in the evenings for English and maths. And particularly at the moment, you can access it almost at any time, to be honest, because you can access it across the whole of Devon.
And do you see that there being more a change in the types of courses you're offering as we come out of the COVID thing and looking for more economic regeneration? Are you looking all the time to see what the needs are?
Yes, so there's been quite a demand for art and craft. We call them community learning courses. So there's been a massive demand for those courses, and we've met our targets really quickly for that this year. In fact, we've already surpassed the numbers in previous years for that. So as we're coming out of COVID, people are very much looking for English, maths, digital skills, hugely popular, and we're looking at how we can move towards offering more kind of work-related qualifications as well, like customer service qualifications or setting up your own business or those kind of things that help people specifically back into work. Obviously, we've got a core group of tutors, and we have to we work within parameters of what they can deliver. But yes, we're definitely looking at what the environment is and how we adapt to that environment.
Is that all right, Shirley?
Thank you. Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Roger. Councillor Gubb.
Thank you. I was just wondering what the abbreviation ALDD.
Adults with learning disabilities and difficulties.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. It's kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Anyone else wish to ask a question? I haven't got anyone there. No. All right. Thank you, Kate, for that. Look forward to you moving into the new library whenever that happens. Thank you.
They're moving into the arts centre, not we're moving into the library.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll keep you posted. Maybe you could invite me back again another day.
Right, sure. Thank you. Right,
I'm going to go now. Thank you. Thanks ever so much. Thank you. Bye.
Sure. Move on to item 9 on the agenda. Receive such communications as myself or the town clerk will put forward. I've got a couple.
Sorry, it's Councillor Inch next.
Oh, sorry. Gosh, yes, I am. Yeah, sorry, you're quite right. Yes, Councillor Inch, if I can call on you to give your report. Thank you.
Well, you know, I know it's not very interested what I say, Chair, but you know. And to be honest, nothing much has happened, as you can imagine, because it all seems to be put on hold by we run up to the elections in May. As you know, as a Torres District Councillor, this period is a bit flat, if you know what I mean. it all goes a bit funny at this time because of Purder and all sorts of other things. I have been going on sending in my reports. I sent some today, actually. I think I sent 3 today, so that should be enough reading for you for the weekend. Some of it is very interesting, you know, and some of it you just skip past. But you know, I send them anyway because you know, I think it's like I say, some of them are very interesting. I have reported the sign. I go on reporting this sign. It's up at Abbotston Cross. As you go up to Abbotston Cross on the past Atlantic Way, there's supposed to be a big sign there that points people down to the A39 and all the direction signs down there. It's a very big one. It's been trashed there for a long time, and I keep reporting it, and I have reported it again because it, you know, with the holiday season coming up, I know lots of people have got sat navs and all sorts of things like that, but it is nice to see these signs up, and it should be there, but there again, we'll have to see. Like I say, the elections are coming up on May the 6th, so this may be the last time, as the song goes. The winter has been fairly good to us with the spring coming on now. I mean, we haven't had the bad weather that some people said we might have. So, you know, it is looking good for our roads. I know there is a lot of potholes. They seem to spring up overnight. They have allotted us another £600,000 this year to do potholes and things like that and drainage. But believe you me, I think I could spend the £600,000 in my division alone. And with Devon County Council having 8,000 miles of road, I don't think that will go very far. So I think, you know, something needs to be done there. Go on, please report potholes online. This is the best way, and please don't go on. Well, you can, if you like, go on to Facebook. A lot of people go on Facebook and say, oh, I've seen this big pothole and I know I've hit it, and what are the council doing about it? But if they don't report it, then the council don't know. So please, you know, spread the word around that people should go online and report it. It only takes a couple of minutes, and usually they come out, never look at it, and if it's a safety issue, it will be done. Moving in a little bit into Linda's ward, I did report the Bollingwood Bridge Street, and having lived down here for the last 4 years, I've seen several cars, lots of cars going up Bridge Street, not knowing that it's a one-way street. I see them most weeks, you know, and I've stopped a few people going up there. And I did report that the no entry signs and the yellow hatch signs at the Bollingwood Bridge Street were worn out. And there was no give way sign at the Bollingwood Bridge Street, because you get people coming down fairly fast and, you know, quite dangerous. So they did come back to me and say that the no entry sign and the hatched yellow sign wasn't a safety issue, which I emailed back, and I said, well, why do it in the first place? Why paint them in the first place if they weren't really needed? But I didn't get much answer back from them, but they did fit a new giveaway sign at the bottom of Bridge Street. Fairly small one, but it is there. But I still get people coming up Bridge Street, so not too good. If there's any questions.
Yes, I've got 3 speakers. Councillor Ruth Craigie.
Thank you, Chair. What exactly is going on with the library?
Right. Well, that's it's not my division, it's Linda's division anyway. But as I understand it, the library is going to change and go in there. It's been down for a long time to be relocated. As you know, the old library is outdated and hard to access for many people, especially from the front. And if wheelchairs and people want to go in there, they've got to go in the town hall door. There's only one toilet in there as well, so it really is becoming really outdated. So I think there is, Linda will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there is £1 million, and I think it's going to be relocated in the Arts Centre, where, you know, they've got all the facilities there. It's a very good building for that sort of thing, and you know, if we can get it somewhat like Barnstable is, and like Barnstable Library is, I think it will be a good place to have it. There's good parking there, right by and level ground. I mean, everything lends itself there. There was plans, of course, to do it by the Burton Art Gallery, but that went by the by. But I think it will happen this year.
Okay. Any idea what will happen to the library building?
Well, I think that I've no idea. I mean, I think that belongs to Torridge, actually, doesn't it? I think that old building belongs to Torridge, so I think that will be up to them what they do,
Okay.
what they do with it.
Thanks.
Like I say, Linda may be able to shed some more light on that.
And could I just ask another question? This is about planning, well, it's about trees. On a number of occasions through different things, I've been working to get trees planted, and the county won't let trees be planted in the pavements. We've had as Peter will know, we've had a planning decision in Westwood Home. We wanted a tree-lined boulevard, and it's the county council that's stopping us from having the trees in the pavements. But I've also got a problem up in East the Water where people park on the pavements, and we'd like to get a couple of trees in because they're just destroying the verges. And given the climate change, and given that Boris Johnson said he wants tree-lined streets, I want to know why the county is blocking this. The county is Tory. Surely they should be carrying out Boris's policies.
Absolutely, I think it's a very good idea. I don't know why they don't do it in newly developed areas. I can't see the reason for that exactly, but the reason for putting trees in established pavements would be, you know, the services go into pavements and things like that, and that roots would damage the services probably.
They won't let us put trees anywhere in pavements. No pavements, old pavements, any old pavement.
Well, that probably is that is the reason. I mean, you walk on a pavement, you don't know what's under it, and probably there's lots of services, telephone wires, and lots of things under the pavement that could be damaged by.
We check that first. Yeah, it's just a policy, and I think it's time that you looked into changing that policy.
Well, I can only go on what engineers say, and sort of the engineers probably say that is the problem, because not only does the roots damage services, it damages the pavements as well. We see that down in the quay and things like that.
Well, when they do them in London, they put them in great big concrete tubes, and so if they can have trees in the middle of London, I'm sure we can have trees here.
I'm sure you're right. If you're willing to spend that money, of course.
I will just come in there and say that the planning meeting that the Councillor Craigie has just mentioned, the officer from Devon County was fairly upfront and saying the county didn't want to pay for the maintenance of the trees, and it seemed to come down to the money. But there we are. I'll move on. Councillor Bush.
Sorry, is it my turn? No, sorry, Peter.
Yeah, sorry.
Two questions for Tony, if I could, please. You mentioned the sign up the top of Abersham Cross roundabout where you turn left towards Atlantic Village. That one was actually demolished by a car. The car itself was written off and had to be recovered. So, you know, Devon County, they can't be dragging their feet because of cost implications, because obviously the car's insurance would have to pay for, you know, any street furniture that was damaged. So I think you need to, you know, perhaps mention that to them. Hopefully that'll speed it up a bit. The second thing, the Kenmouth Viaduct. If you come from Hayward Road roundabout going towards Clovelly, just as you hit the actual bridge parapet, the actual bridge part rather than the road, there's something blocked on one of the drains there, and it floods quite badly. Now, about 5 weeks ago, a chap that I know quite well left work not late of a night, was driving home. It was raining quite badly. Obviously, it was dark. He hit that flood, spun the car, and pushed part of the railings down on the left-hand side. He was lucky, actually, that he didn't go straight through and drop onto the roadway below. So, you know, that part of the fencing is still missing. It's got some temporary netting on it. But the most serious thing that I find with all that, I mean, they had the police and fire brigade and various other things there, and the guy was hospitalized. But driving through there last week on my way up to do a bit of shopping, lo and behold, at night, the flood is still there. So, you know, I don't know why Devon County, when an accident is caused by flooding, and it's, you know, quite a serious accident, it could have had fatal consequences. To me, that should be a priority to get the drain sorted out. And it's not like you've got a situation where the water can't go anywhere. You know, it's got a 100-foot drop below it. So all it needs is the drains, you know, clearing out in a proper manner, and it could potentially, you know, save someone's life. So I think that needs to be a priority telephone call to somebody to get it sorted out, you know, PDQ. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Langford.
Thank you. This is really just to give some feedback. A little while ago, I think it was when Linda was speaking, we talked about speed on Clovelly Road, and Linda did say that she thought that some covert speed equipment was going to go in, but also that the best thing to do was to, you know, that people need to log and send in information about anything they see. Well, I've fed that back to some residents, and one of the residents has replied that it quite, you know, with apologies, he has replied, but he said that he has considered it, but he worries about collecting evidence because he says it feels it puts them in a vulnerable position, that during the winter, the street lighting is not helpfully noting car number plates when they're going so fast. And during the day, monitoring is not easy, and we felt that you can't do it in secret. So you inevitably stand out, and we didn't want this to happen because seeing the vehicles, you have to be on the pavement. So he said, hopefully the covert speed equipment will record the problem officially and accurately. So I'm really just feeding back that is what one of the residents has said, but obviously they're concerned that it's going to get worse with more traffic, you know, as summer approaches. But thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just respond to that, because I have, yes, I have been contacted by a few people up at Clovelly Road, especially up at just past Blights, where they seem to go faster and faster as they go out to Atlantic Village. Actually, I was going about 25, 30 miles an hour up there, which you're allowed to do, and somebody actually passed me before the Morton Avenue turn, you know, and I was quite astonished that they did that. You know, they were doing about 40 or 50 miles an hour and they passed me. And I have reported this to the police. I think they have been up there. They have caught a few people. People want speed cameras and things like that there, because the problem with speed cameras is locals clock where they are, and these offenders slow down for speed cameras, and then when they're past them, they speed up again. So they don't actually work very well. They only work for people who don't know they're there. But I will report this again to the police and see what we can do. We can do things like speed monitoring. We can have people come out and do that. We can put things across the road so we can tell how fast people are going up through there. I mean, past the school, it's 20 miles an hour anyway. But yeah, I agree. It is getting worse, and I will talk to the police again.
Thank you. Councillor Hellier.
Right, so all right.
So you've muted yourself.
Sorry, I didn't do anything. I did it now. It's all right if I come back on what you've just been discussing. Firstly, with Councillor Langford, the only area that's mine is the bit as you come down Clovelly Road and go into Old Town down Medden Street. And I certainly never intended for people to stand outside with a notebook. When I mean report it, I mean if you've got incidents of boy racers, if people go on the Devon and Cornwall police website and they can go on live chat or email your beat team, but live chat's best because you get an immediate response. They just report those incidents, then the police know if there's a pattern. Is it only Friday nights, Saturday nights? Is it evenings? When it is that's that. And I had asked that some covert speed equipment be put in there. I've not heard any more because you were in a queue to get it. If you remember, I said there's a bit of a backlog. For Councillor Ruth Craigie, the verges up Torrington Lane, the reason you can't have trees there, it's because it's a visibility display. So as you're coming out of Heathfield Road to turn right, you've got to have clear view. So I've had letters for a long time to put on those cars that have chewed up the verge. But since I've had them, they've not been parking there. And I've made a point of going past several evenings a week if I'm driving home, telling them to cease and desist from parking there, because otherwise they're going to be liable for the repairs. But certainly those verges can have flowers planted on them, but they can't have trees. And the reason they don't like trees in the pavement is as already stated, if you think it costs quite a lot of money to put the pavement right up at the back of the pannier market, where the tree roots had come out and lifted the paving slabs. So that's why. Now I've gone totally blank on what the other thing was. The library. Subject to planning, the library have secured funding. It's been ring-fenced for quite a long time. Will go into the arts building. They'll share it with Learn Devon. I think the idea is that Learn Devon will be on the ground floor. The library will be on the first floor. There will be full access for people with disabilities. There will be one of these changing places rooms, which is something that Bideford really needs for people with disabilities. And subject to planning and it all going ahead, they'd be looking to open April 2022. And as already stated, the building they're in now belongs to Torridge, so it'll be up to Torridge what they do with it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Heron.
Hello, this is a question for Linda and Tony, actually. I've seen it, and a couple of people have spoken to me about the trees being cut down on the 361, which is, you know, full-on nesting season, and technically is a wildlife crime. And I did report Devon County Council to the police last year for wildlife crimes because they were cutting loads of trees down during nesting season as well. I just wondered, is there any reason that they're doing that at this time, or because they clearly could have done it in January or February before nesting season started?
Tony?
Well, I didn't realise they were doing that, but I guess the reason why they're cutting those trees down is due to ash dieback.
No.
Even if there's ash dieback, this is why I reported them last time, because that was their excuse last time. But clearly, if you're aware of ash dieback, you could do it in the winter when the trees are dormant, and creatures are more dormant as well.
Like I say, I'm not aware they're doing that. I know they have been cutting small amount of trees back on the A39 and A361.
Huge sections of the A361. I would imagine it's something to do with it being widened.
That could be the case.
Could this work not have been carried out in the winter? Or is it just something they suddenly found out they needed to do? Linda, do you know? Or
No, I don't know the particulars. I think Councillor Inch is right that it's to do with widening the road. It's not anything I've had any information on. Generally speaking, they do stick to the areas outside of bird nesting, so there'll be a reason, but I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
I'll follow it up. Cheers. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Lawrence.
Yeah, I just wanted to return to the Clovelly Road situation, which I mentioned a few months ago now, with regards to the very last bit of non-pavement on the right-hand side as you go up to Atlantic Village and McDonald's. With the amount of traffic that's now having to brake or stop suddenly because of the traffic lights and turning into B&M, which is becoming a major issue. I know there's been an accident up there this week involving cars piling into the back of each other. Whilst that's their fault, they shouldn't be so close and shouldn't be going so fast. It is a cause for concern for the pedestrians who I have seen walking along that bit of road where there's no pavement. I mean, I was up there the other day and a couple came out from where McDonald's is and walked towards B&M on the left-hand side as you come back, and there is no pavement there at all. I would have thought Devon County should be in a position to put that last bit of pavement in so that the pedestrians can be safe up to what is now a housing estate, because there will be parents with children going to school, there'll be people coming out to go down to B&M, to Lidl, and into town, and I think it's time Devon County did something about it.
Well, yes, they have done something about it.
No, they haven't. B&M have put the pavement into the end of their development, and then you've got to walk in the road to get.
No, you haven't.
Yeah,
you
I
haven't.
know what you're going to say. You can cross at the traffic lights and cross back again, but people aren't doing it. They're just not doing it.
Well, that is the safest way for them to do it, and to put that pavement up by BMM and go right up to the McDonald's. I'm afraid that isn't county land, so we can't go and encroaching on private land. We can't. The road is not wide enough for us to put a pavement in, and we can't do that on their land without having to purchase it from that land. The safest way is to cross by BMM, which was paid for by BMM. They paid for that crossing to cross the road onto Asda side. Then you walk up the pavement, and then you cross safely by the crossing up by the crossing lights.
That's not obvious when you're coming the other way. People are walking around the corner and heading towards B&M, and my only reason for raising it is as I say, because of the traffic that's now up there and the braking that's going on because people are turning into B&M or stopping for the traffic lights. At some point there is going to be a major accident. I think we need to look at, putting some sort of pavement in to sort it out.
Well, people take risks, and if they don't want to walk on a pavement, we can't make them, but they know the risk and they can cross that road and be safe. And that's why they put that crossing in by BMM. Actually, I've got them to put a 106 agreement in so they could put that crossing in for the same reason, because people were taking their lives in their hands trying to cross the road to get to Asda from that road. So
I think that's a great improvement. All I'm worried about now is just that last little bit where it is dangerous.
Yeah, well, it is a problem, but it's something that county are working on, but it's very difficult because we haven't got any land to put the payment on.
Right, I'm going to move on because I'm not sure where we're going there. Councillor Heron, you've already had one go, but you've got your hand up again.
Am I allowed to?
Yes, go on.
Cheers. I think what Councillor Lawrence is talking about is desire lines, I think they're called in planning, where architects and planners may get it a bit wrong and humans decide to take the most direct route, which is absolutely acceptable and should be recognised. I think there's some really good examples on Google if you look.
Right. I've got nobody else has got their hands up. So thank you, Tony, for that.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got you in the wrong place.
No,
I'll move on. Go back to item 9 now. First of all, you've all be aware that Councillor Wootton has resigned. If he had resigned a couple of weeks earlier, we could have had the by-election on the same day as the county elections and saved the ratepayers about £4,000 if there's an election. If there isn't an election, we're co-opt. But the notice has gone out and we'll see what happens if anyone calls for an election. Secondly, some of us have had a letter from the Heritage Railway Centre over East of the Water. It's quite a long letter, the press release. I'll just read out the main bits. A decision by Devon County Council to renew leases at the station site at Bideford without permission to run trains places the Bideford Railway Heritage Centre at potential risk of closure. They go on to say that the decision was given in early February with no reasons given for it. And the last paragraph says, we would kindly ask every local organisation and resident of Torridge and North Devon that feels that our presence at both Bideford and Instow, that's the signal box, is important in the wider area to write to their county councillor, their MP, and make their feelings known. It was addressed to me as the mayor. They're asking for the town council to write. I did actually send this, the letter I had from them, on to Councillor Hellier, because it is her ward, and Devon County Council, and I did get a letter back, and I hope Councillor Hellier doesn't mind if I read out bits of it. She says, I'm on the Public Rights of Way Committee, hasn't been discussed at that committee. As she understood it, Devon County were going to issue a statement some time ago. I haven't seen it. And then the comment that made my heart sink, the asset is managed by Devon County's agent, Norfolk Property Services.
Oh, no.
Exactly, yes, thank you.
What a shame.
Yes. Anyway, Councillor Hellier went on to say that Devon County wanted different contracts signed for different elements. So the signal box, the bits of the track and so on, and the cafe. Devon County has asked the group to do several things to maintain the area, replacing the glass windows with vandal-proof plastic, which hasn't happened. Devon County has been asking the group to sign the contracts for some considerable time. And the sticking point, as you've already heard, is that the train group want to have trains that run up and down the track, which they have done in the past. Devon County have doubts about the health and safety. The platform belongs to the Brens Hotel, and so on. Councillor Hellier does say, I've supported this group financially from my locality fund on more than one occasion, and she's passed on their concerns to the county. Now, they have asked the town council, would we write? I don't know what you feel about that, whether you feel strongly enough that there should be trains running. They only go about 100 yards. When I was mayor back in 2005, I actually opened the running train, and it goes about 100 yards and then came back. So it's not terribly long, but this is the sticking point, and they've asked us, would we write? Councillor Hellier, you put your hand up.
Yeah, just to give an update. I mean, the trains haven't run for 10 years. I fully support them if they only want to run them, I think about 3 hours once a fortnight in the summer. So if there's no compelling reason why they can't, I fully support them. I've also be very keen for them to sign the contracts and get the cafe open, because I think the cafe is a big draw for Bideford, especially as the blacksmiths isn't open, and the railway station's a good pit stop for holiday makers, walkers and cyclists to stop and have coffee and cake and the like. I have an update. I did bring this to the attention of the leader of Devon County Council, John Hart, and so he's arranged, this will be discussed at a cabinet meeting, and he wants to start again with the group and formalise all the agreements. So, you know, they'll be in discussion. So I think the fault has been that with the MPS hasn't communicated very well with them. And I think that's the crux of it. And so the group sort of dug their heels in and said, we're not signing this unless we get the other. So hopefully Councillor John Hart will be pouring oil on troubled waters, and within the next few weeks, everything will be resolved.
Thank you. Yes, we'll see what Norfolk Property Services comes up with. Councillor James Craigie.
Thank you, Peter. Mr. Mayor, I think we should write to the county to fully understand what the reasons are that MPS has said that they shouldn't have rolling stock. I know that Councillor Hellier has said it's a health and safety issue, but we require a little bit more specifics than that if we're going to help the group solve what those health and safety issues are.
Thank you. Councillor Ruth Craigie.
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to agree. I think we should write in support of them. I think the volunteers up there do a brilliant job, and I think the county should be supportive because they don't look after the Targa Trail, and the people up there, the volunteers, you know, do the weeding and the cleaning and the painting and the everything. And it beggars belief to me that the county can be so, well, I don't know, they don't seem to care. I think they should be supportive. They should be in there helping the group because the Targa Trail is one of our biggest assets. And a lovely station on the way with a lovely cafe and a signal box and everything. It's part of our heritage. So they should be giving them money, not, you know, giving them stupid contracts. We should be helping them.
Right, thank you. I'll come back to the letter in a minute. I will say, I think Councillor Hellier did pinpoint the problem. It's not Devon County, it's Norfolk Property Services. Those of you who have had dealings with them before will be aware of them. Anyway, we've had two councillors suggest we do write. Is there anyone opposed to it? No? In that case, then I'll propose from the chair that we write a letter of support to John Hart directly, so he is aware of our feelings. Yeah. Can I ask you just to vote on that? I didn't actually have a seconder, but this is only a letter, so. Right, so all in favour apart from Councillor Hellier is abstaining.
We won't put down the vote anyway. It's just a majority because it's not an agenda item. Okay.
Right. There is another item I think the town clerk wants to talk about. This is the Levelling Up Fund and the development of Isaac's Yards. This is the Future High Streets Fund.
Yes, it's just a quick one, just to let everybody know that Councillor Bushby and myself went to a meeting today of what was formerly the Future High Street Fund Steering Board, just to talk about whether the Levelling Up Fund would be could stand in for where the Future High Street funding wasn't forthcoming for us, and it does look quite promising. It needs to be taken, the proposition needs to be taken to Torridge District Council on Monday for them to support it. But Chris Fuller feels that it probably will get support. So I wanted to mention it tonight because the deadline for the submission is the 18th of June. So once Torridge give the go ahead, then things will start to happen quite quickly. So we'll probably be asked to support it and send letters of support. So it's coming on from the Future High Street Fund. It's the same proposition, I believe. I don't think there'll be too many changes to it. So it's just to make everybody aware of that.
Thank you. Do you have anything else, Heather?
Oh, only one more thing, just to remind councillors that the annual parish meeting, which is the electors meeting, is on the 20th of April. So we'll be sending out the agenda and the reports next week. So that's on a Tuesday and it's at 7 p.m. because it's not actually officially a town council meeting, it's an electors meeting. So you should receive your paperwork for that or your invite for that next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go back to the agenda proper now. Item 10 on the agenda, Staffing, Finance and General Purpose Committee, Councillor Bushby. I don't know if you've started, Councillor Bushby, but you're muted.
Oh, I do beg your pardon. Yeah, this is the meeting Thursday, the 25th of March. If anyone has any comments, please shout out. But I'll start on page, the first page, page 93, 94, 95.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Is it all right, Doug, if I?
Yes.
It's
yes,
about the play equipment funds.
Yeah.
I felt a bit uncomfortable about that. I mean, it's a really close vote, 4-3, and it was the recommendation failed. And I don't know if there's any way that we in this meeting could have another look at that or not. I don't know, but I know how people feel about it, and I know people felt that money was for smaller parks and the strong feelings they have that you know, certain areas haven't been helped enough by TDC. But just to say that I've spoken to Adrian Avery, and he understands people's feelings, and he understands that for a long period there wasn't a go-to person at TDC. So he has no axe to grind about supporting Victoria Park or not. He just needs to know, he said, what our financial ability to help them is. He says they're starting with nothing. They've got this community group set up. They have got 20,000 that was earmarked for Victoria Park as part of the deed of variation at Morton Lodge. Sean Harrington, the planning manager, has confirmed he's happy that that includes play provision. And I know Appledore was mentioned, and people were said, Councillor Hellier mentioned the Churchfields car park play area there. I did ask about that because it did feel that even though they had the play strategy going and everything, suddenly this new park arrived in Churchfields. Apparently that had all been decided in the last council, and money had been raised, etc., and committed in the last council before the play strategy happened. It just happened that it didn't go into place until during the life of this council. But I know that feels a bit unfair. And I appreciate it's TDC's responsibility, but the park is in Bideford, and I just feel it would show a bit. I would have preferred to have felt that we were giving something towards, upgrading the park in Victoria Park.
Well, yes, I agree, but obviously other members of that committee, as you quite rightly say, voted for against, so the motion was lost. It means that we'd have to go back to staff and finance, or otherwise full council would have to presumably do the vote themselves. Is that right,
Well,
Mr. Mayor? Can
I just come in here? It is a recommendation, and can I ask Heather, as it's only a recommendation, it has come to us for ratification, so we can actually vote on it as a full council, can we not?
Yes, you can. Because it is only a recommendation, you could make a counter proposal should you wish.
Okay.
Right, well, I proposed it last time and Councillor Bushby seconded me. I'll propose it again, that we do actually go ahead with that recommendation.
I'll second it again.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak before I go to the vote? Councillor Hellier.
Yes, I understand. We've got £25,000, haven't we, set aside for play
Correct.
equipment?
Correct.
And if you give 10,000 away, I don't think you buy much equipment with 15,000. If that is the jewel in the crown of play parks for Torridge District Council, bearing in mind they've spent precious little on play equipment apart from at Appledore and Torrington, then I think they should concentrate some funds on that. They say they've got a play strategy. They say they've got funds, but they're not in any particular ring fence pot. We've got lots of play parks that have got very little equipment. More families with young children live in east of the water than any other part of Torridge, and yet that park up at Polyfields is abysmal. It's got one baby swing, it's got a little thing to climb on, and a usually broken zip wire. I think if we're going to spend any money, we need to be spending it in our play parks. And we also did, I believe, we never heard back. The town clerk was writing to Persimmon, I believe. I had a motion some meetings ago about the play park on the Tarka Point, where I live, the Tarka Point development opposite Tesco, asking if they bring that up to scratch and we could take that over. I've heard nothing more about that. But anyway, I'm still very much against us giving this money to Torridge.
Right, can I just come in there and point out that when I first passed this motion 2 years ago now, there's £25,000 from the town council, none of which has been spent yet. And there's also, I managed to get 25,000 from the British Trust. And the Torridge has already spent, I think, 8,000 of that on Londonderry, because the play equipment there had gone. That's been replaced. So there still is around £17,000 in the British Trust money to add to the 15,000. So it is actually 32,000 would be available. But I do have other speakers. Councillor James Craigie.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to echo and support what Councillor Hellier said, but I also want to know whatever happened to the Councillor Dermot McGough suggested a disabled swing for Victoria Park. Has the District Council ever implemented that?
I think I can answer that. No, they haven't. And the problem was that when we looked at it, there are, as far as we could find, there were no others in Devon. And the reason was you have to have an attendant by the swing. And that's what we were told at the time. I think Councillor McGough is still keen on getting it put in place, but there were quite a few problems with it, we were told at the time. Sorry, back to you, Councillor Craigie.
Yeah, obviously I'm going to vote against any spending of this money on Victoria Park. Obviously it is the jewel in the crown, but it's very much Torridge's crown. I think we need to look at the residents of Bideford and what they do. So that's all.
Right, thank you. I've got no other speakers got their hands up. We go to the vote then. It has been posed, it's been seconded. If you're in favour of giving £10,000 towards Victoria Park, spending the rest on as we first envisaged, then you vote yes. Right, if I ask for the vote. One, two. Sorry, can I ask, all I've asked for at the moment is people in favour. Some people are holding up crosses, some people are holding up nothing at all. It's actually quite difficult for Heather to count, I suspect. So if you're in favour, if you can just show. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4,
5,
6.
Six.
Is it 6? 1, 2, 3. I make
Six.
it 6.
Six.
Okay, 6.
Yeah. All those against, if you can show now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6.
Abstentions. No abstentions. Does that add up, Heather?
Not unless we did have 13. Oh, I think maybe
I think
Councillor
we've lost
Heron.
Councillor Heron.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah,
Oh,
so
right.
it does then.
Right, yeah. So it's 6-all. So I've got the casting vote.
Vote.
I voted in favour, so I'll vote again.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for that. That takes care of page 95. I think over the page to page 96. 97. You can see that we did receive a complaint from out of this world with regard to the when we turned down the New Year's Eve grant application. She did attend the meeting. It was held. The complaint was dismissed. So that was taken care of, I thought, fairly swiftly at the meeting rather than prolong it. Over the page to page 98, I'll make the move.
Thank you. All those in favour, if you can show. That's unanimous. Thank you. Right. The next one is item 11 on the agenda, the Market Management Committee. I would call on Councillor Mackenzie, but he's not here. Is there a vice chair for that committee?
Yeah, I believe it's me.
Oh, right. Councillor James Craigie, over to you.
Sorry, let's take a moment to get it up on my screen. Yep. Okay, minutes of the market management held on Zoom on the 1st of April. Page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 4, and finally page 5. It was actually quite a brief meeting in the end, and I beg to move it.
Thank you.
Second that.
Is there a seconder? I'm sorry. Thank you, Councillor Hawkins. Right, all those in favour? Right, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right. Councillor Lawrence, you're abstaining, right? Thank you. We move on then to the Planning Committee. Item 12. I'll take these. The first one on Planning Committee on the 10th of March. I'll go through it point by point if you want to bring up any particular planning application. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, and item 40. I'll move on to the meeting of the 31st of March. Go through it again. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45A, B, C, D, and item 46. Nobody's put their hand up. I would just say for the second meeting, you see it lasted 15 minutes, and astonishingly, and I have to praise Leslie here, I had the draft minutes 15 minutes later, which I think must be a record. Right, I beg to move those two sets of plans. Is there a seconder? Thank you.
I'll second
Councillor
them.
Lawrence. Oh, I think Councillor Lawrence was first. All right, all those in favour, if you can show. That's unanimous, thank you. Right, move on to item 13, the Tourism Committee, Councillor Gubb.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've had two meetings, so I'll go through the first one, which was Tuesday, the 9th of March. Page 40, page 41, 42, and 43. And the other one is Tuesday, the 6th of April, which we all had via email. Page 44, 45, 46, and 47. I beg to move.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Bushby. Right, go to the vote then. All those in favour, if you can show. That is unanimous, thank you. Right, move back to the main agenda. Item 14, the Emergency Planning Committee. I couldn't make it and the Vice Chairman arrived late, so they put Councillor Ratcliffe. I think you took this one.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I did. So, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Good, good. Minutes from the Emergency Planning Work Group held via Zoom on Monday, 29th of March 2021. 036, 037, 038. And that's with section 4, 5, 6, 13, 14, 16, 19, and 20. 039, 040, 041, 042. I beg to move.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Corf. All right, if you can show all those in favour. That's unanimous again. Thank you. All right. Go to the agenda. Item 15. Consider whether members wish to bring forward the date of the annual town council meeting. I should explain the government has sent out a ruling that all councils have to meet face to face after May the 7th. We think this might be a bit difficult, so we're asking that we move it back to Thursday, 6th of May, so we can still have the Zoom meeting. This is going to apply to councils all over Britain. Hertfordshire County Council is taking a court case to the High Court with the Local Government Association to challenge this. I would add that MPs have decided they will keep meeting on Zoom until June the 21st. But the council's have got to meet after May the 7th. Great. So, Heather, I don't know if you want to say anything about this.
I think you said it all, really. It's just being mindful as to whether all members feel comfortable to resume face-to-face meetings. We would obviously risk assess it and do our best to distance and provide all the COVID secure things that we could, but it's just whether everybody feels comfortable. So I think we have to have a mind to the minority as well as the majority. That's all I would say.
Right, I don't think we have any choice over it. This is government legislation, isn't it?
No, we don't. But what I mean is, if we bring our meeting forward to facilitate a Zoom meeting, it gives us a bit more time before the next town council meeting, and also we can see how other councils do it. You know because there will be some mistakes made along the line. Do we want to be the first council on the 13th to do it, or do we want to watch what others do? That's my view.
Right. Well, I'll propose from the chair that we
Councillor Ratcliffe. Sorry, I believe
Councillor Ratcliffe. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, the problem I have with this is ventilation in the council chamber. There is insufficient ventilation in the council chamber for a meeting to be held. I did mention this to the town clerk many weeks ago, and she did make inquiries with Torridge, and I don't expect she's actually had a response back from Torridge yet as to what they're going to plan to do.
I have had a response to say that they will look at it, but I haven't had a response to say what will be done.
So, you know, I think all you'll find in the council chamber is just one extractor fan, which is stuck up in the middle of the ceiling, and the old door, which obviously never gets open because it's too dangerous. So, and the windows don't open. So what are we going to do?
Well, we could actually meet in where Torridge meets, much larger room, very high roof.
Yep, but again, there's no ventilation in there, is there? We need some sort of recycling equipment to cleanse the air.
Well, we'll see what Torridge comes back with, because Torridge will have to begin meetings again sometime.
Yeah, quite. So perhaps we can just bear that in mind anyway.
Right, Charles, thank you. I will propose from the chair that we do.
Councillor Hellier.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry.
Sorry. Well, I've got no objections either way, whatever we do. But my only thing is, this is the date of the county elections, and some of us might be rather busy on that night. I've already had 3 of my parish councils reorganise their meeting for that night, and it is a day of the elections, and there will be the verification that evening. So it's not going to be that convenient for all of us to come.
There could be a counter proposal on a different date.
What different dates do we have, Heather?
Well, if according to our standing orders, the council may change the date of the next meeting. So it could be a Tuesday, it could be a Wednesday. It doesn't have to be a Thursday.
Right. Unfortunately, it's got to be before May the 7th.
Yes.
And anyone involved in the county council elections is going to be busy every evening, I would have thought, before then. So it's not going to make a lot of difference, really. Am I right there or wrong? I'm not sure who's standing for the county council, but... No. Well, I'm going to propose we do actually go for May the 6th. I'm sorry, but I think it's going to be the same whatever date you choose, really. Is there a seconder for May the 6th?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Sorry, I'd got my hand up. I wanted to make
sorry.
another proposal.
Yes,
Can I propose we have it on the Tuesday?
that's May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to second that, please.
Right, yeah. Well, I'll withdraw my motion. I got no problem whatever day we have it, but if that's what people who are involved in the county council elections want, I will bow to them actually. So I'll withdraw my motion. So the only one on the table at the moment is May the 4th. Anyone wish to put a counter one? No? Right, let's go to the vote then. That's Tuesday, May the 4th. Right. Councillor Ratcliffe, are you voting against or abstaining? Abstaining, right, thank you. Right, so it is Tuesday, May the 4th, if you want to put that in your diaries. Right, we go back to the agenda. Item 16, consider how to proceed with the Mayor introduction ceremony and Mayor's parade scheduled for the 3rd and 6th of June respectively. Heather.
Well, it was for members to decide what they'd like to do about that. I mean, I was just mindful of the government's roadmap plans. I've got them here somewhere. So we're thinking about you know, the ceremony that we normally have, lots of people there. We wouldn't be able to have a group of more than 30 people, I don't believe. So it's whether you want to very much reduce the fare or cancel or delay.
What do members think?
I think we've cancelled enough.
Right. So you're suggesting we go ahead with it on the 3rd?
Yeah, go ahead with that.
Can I propose we go ahead after the 21st of June?
Sorry, go ahead when, sorry?
After the 21st of June, when we're supposed to be free.
Right. Any other suggestions? No.
Could I suggest, why don't we combine it with Bideford Fair? You normally have a procession along the quay with everything going on then. You could combine the two things together.
What date is the Bideford Fair?
In August.
Sorry?
It's in August.
August, right. Right, we've got 3 suggestions so far. Any more? Right, I'll go through them. Councillor Bushby, you were the first to suggest it. I'm going to take that as a proposal that we go ahead on the dates as we've got them here, the 3rd and 6th of June. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Ratcliffe, right? That's been proposed, been seconded. The second one was, I'm just trying to think who put it forward. Councillor Gubb, I think it was you.
No, me.
Councillor Ruth Craigie.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Ruth Craigie, yes. And you suggested June the 21st, after June.
Well, after June the 21st.
Right, is there a seconder for that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Right, there's quite a few for that. And the last one, just trying, this was Councillor Ratcliffe, no, Councillor
Lauren.
Councillor Lawrence, you suggested combining it with Bideford Fair. Yeah, that's in August. Right, is there a seconder for that? No. Right, we've got 2 proposals on the table then that have been proposed and seconded. I'll take them in the order they're done. Councillor Bushby is suggesting we go ahead with the 3rd and 6th of June.
And it would need to be very much reduced because you could only have 30 people there.
Yeah, and there is also the Mayor's Parade. We can't force these other groups to come along. They may come up with the idea we don't want to go, but there we are, we'll see. Right, it's been proposed, been seconded. Can I ask all those in favour to show? 2, 3. Right. Right, all those against, can you show?
Nine.
Right. Any abstentions? No, we all voted.
Yeah, all voted.
Right, I'll go on to the second proposal then. is Councillor Ruth Craigie's, that we sometime after June the 21st. It hasn't been specified, but the government roadmap says we'll all be free by then. Right, can I ask all those in favour if you can show now? Right, that's everyone except Councillor Ratcliffe. Councillor Ratcliffe, can I ask, are you abstaining or voting against?
Sorry.
Oh, it was unanimous then. Right, I'll leave that with Heather. We haven't actually got a date, Heather, but at least we know.
Well, I think what we'll need to do is just keep an eye on the roadmap, maybe make a provisional booking with the Royal Hotel, because I'm thinking we're going with the full celebration, and also we'll need to check availability of whoever's voted in, as well as staff, because we're coming right into our holiday season. So we'll have to sort of work around it.
Right, you are. Thank you. Right, we'll move on then. Item 17, to receive the letter from the Ministry of Housing, etc., regarding the Welcome Back Fund. I'll explain what this was, that Torridge District Council has been given a sum of money. I think it was £160,000. And the initial suggestion was that they would divide it up between the main towns in the area on a pro rata basis. So Bideford will get the most. Unfortunately, that seemed to be too simple for the government, and they've now come up with all sorts of other problems. And Torridge are looking again at this. I think it's down on the agenda for Torridge on Monday, where we'll know more. The problem is, as Steve Hurst, the Chief Executive of Torridge, has pointed out, the government keeps changing its mind. It's a fluid situation, and I think we'll know more on Monday. But let's keep our fingers crossed. And if we do get the money, we will be coming back to councillors asking for suggestions how we might spend it. Yeah. Is there anything you want to add to that, Heather? Or...
No, only just that if we get allocated some money between now and say the end of the month, it would need to go to SFGP, so we didn't unduly hold it up and then ask councillors for their ideas. So it would need to go to whichever committee is closest, because I think it's a fund that needs to be sort of allocated quite quickly. So yeah,
right, I think
that was all.
Yeah, all the councillors heard that. So
yeah.
Right, I'll move on then. Item 18, notice of motion from Councillor Ratcliffe. So over to you, David.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I just wanted this as a notice of motion, simply because there's been a lot of chat and concern within the council recently regarding dog waste bins, and the town council has always been very good at supplying these and getting them fitted, and Torridge has usually provided a pretty good service in getting them emptied. But with the view that another 750 homes are to be built, plus whatever on top of that, and the income that Torridge will be receiving from those homes, they obviously aren't interested in providing the service of emptying the dog waste bin. So I thought what we could perhaps do on planning is to not suggest, but actually insist that on every application that comes through to planning, it's compulsory for the applicant to supply and install a dog waste bin in that area and fund the collection of the waste for at least 1 year, payable to the local authority, Torridge District Council. So therefore, they should be in a win-win situation where we can still supply the bin, or not, as the case may be, and Torridge will actually receive the funds for emptying the waste bins for at least a year and get the contractor to pay for it.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that?
Well, if it's legal to second that, I would second it, but I doubt very much whether it's actually, whether we have the power to actually do that.
Well, I was going to suggest two small changes, actually, David. The first one, it says resolving on planning applications for developments. I mean, if it was one house, you need to have some sort of size to suggest there. The second thing is, we can't make it compulsory. We can suggest this
Yes, sir.
because the planning regulations don't cover this. But if we add, it is suggested that the applicant, that's something Torridge might well be able to do actually under section 106s. So I think we could go forward with this.
I would say strongly, sorry.
There will have to be a couple of slight changes. I think you will have to put some size element in. And secondly, you can't make it compulsory because we're a lower tier authority.
Yes, well, I appreciate that, but yes, if we can make some small adjustments to that and then put it through to the vote, yes, I'd accept that.
So what do you suggest for the size of the development?
Well, I'm just trying to think of the, is it the road up at Atlantic, oh, where is it? Brewers Fair, the road there? Pinho Road, is it?
Do you mean Pinkham Road?
Pinkham Road.
Yeah. I mean, that's approximately 12 properties there. Maybe there's a few more than that. But that's that sort of size, starting from 12 properties, say, and then moving up.
So if we had 4 developments of 12 houses and upwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And
Can I suggest the words be strongly recommend?
Yes, please. Yep.
So rather than compulsory, we will strongly recommend.
Yep.
Yep, Roger. And does Councillor Bushby accept those changes?
I do indeed.
Roger. Anyone else wish to say anything? No? We'll go to the vote then. All those in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. Oh, I say unanimous. Councillor Hellier, sorry, you turned yourself off. Thank you. Right, we'll move on then. Item 19 on the agenda. This is Councillor James Craigie. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This idea came forward basically in consideration about the play park funding, but it obviously has a wider impact on many things that we do. Proposing that we bring back having a youth council, something that the park says we've had in the past, and was very kind in sharing her experience, so that I could get this motion as good as we can get it, to engage young people in actually becoming part of the solution to the many problems the town will face post-COVID and with the changing climate that we face. I think it's important that we try and engage as many young people as possible, and taking advice from the British Youth Council, basically looking at trying to mirror what a parish or town council does is said to be one of the best ways of engaging young people within their community. So I'm proposing that we establish a youth council of 16 members to mirror the 16 members that we have in the full council, that they be elected from those people who are in education or who are between the years of 11 and 18. So for a period of 2 years, and one member of the full council attend those meetings to be able to present the minutes and any recommendations to the full council. I beg to move.
Thank you. Before I call, there's a couple of speakers. We have had a youth council before, and I can't remember which councillor may have been on the council then when we had it. It worked last time for a while because we had a very keen, she wasn't a teacher, I think she was a sort of counsellor at Bideford College. Can't remember her proper title, but she was extremely keen. And they also had a very keen student, and it worked. However, it was extremely time consuming. And I know our town clerk has already expressed a few problems about it at the time. What I was going to ask was, which schools are you going to ask? Because last time we did ask Edgehill and Grenville, as was, obviously they're now Kingsley, but are you going to include private schools as well in your?
We do need a seconder to the motion.
Oh, sorry, yes. Yes, is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Corf. So you would include private schools, sorry.
Yes, yeah.
Roger. Right, I've got the various speakers. Councillor Ratcliffe. Sorry, you're muted, Councillor Ratcliffe.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I was on the council with your good self during that time of the youth council, and it was a very good idea, as it is indeed a very good idea now. However, the town clerk then was run almost ragged with the amount of extra work he and his staff, who are still with us, thankfully, had to do. Some important factors are, one is that the DBS enhanced checks will have to be carried out on all councillors at a cost to the council, which would probably be in an approximate figure of £900, I would suggest. And with regard to a senior council member sitting at the youth council, I would suggest is not a good idea. And what used to happen, Katie Cloak was the chairperson of the Bideford Youth Council, and she used to come to Bideford full town council meetings to report as to the activities that the town council, the Bideford Youth Council had been doing. So it all worked very well with the hustings, the elections, everything worked fine. However, it was overshadowed by Bideford College eventually, who, and without naming any names whatsoever, suggested that they would have their own youth council within the college and dispense with the Bideford Youth Council. And that's why it came to an end. So this time we really do want to make sure all our bridges are fully secure.
Thank you. Councillor Corf.
First of all, I just wanted to say to Councillor James Craigie, what a wonderful idea. I think it's definitely something that needs to be up and running again. And I just wanted to pose the question, why couldn't one of the chair of the youth council present the report to the full town council? Why can't we have a young person attend? I wasn't sure if there was a reason for that.
What you said.
Do you want me to respond to that? Yeah. It was just, I was just following the recommendations of the British Youth Council in that suggesting that a councillor attend in an observational role, obviously not to direct what the youth, and then to report back to the council. There's no reason why the young people could not do that directly if they so wished. I was just following what the initial recommendations for establishing youth council are.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bushby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm probably going to be a lone voice on this, but I would just like to point out that, we are a very open council. All of our subcommittee meetings are open to the public. Our town council meetings are open to the public. We get very poor attendance, I would say, along with probably most other councils around the country, unless there is something really contentious which is on the agenda. Now, I can't remember the last time, probably the last time we had a child or a young person attend a council meeting was Councillor Corf's daughter. I can't really recall in the time that I've been on the town council that we've had very much in the way of representation from the youth of the town, although they would be very welcome if they wish to attend. And I have absolutely no problem with any individual youngsters or even groups of youngsters putting forward suggestions to the town council or indeed the district council. I just feel that, setting up a youth council and all of the work that is going to entail to do this, and believe you me, there will be a lot of work. That's if you can get 16 youngsters to actually come forward and do it. To me, it's a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Now, if you think of what is actually suggested, a former Bideford Youth Council to determine the distribution of funds from the town council's play equipment funds for the parks within Bideford Parish. You're talking 11 to 18 year olds. Do you really think 11 to 18 year olds, particularly the older 16 to 18, do you think they're really interested in the play equipment that's going to go in Polyfield, Bideford Park? They couldn't care two hoots about play equipment when they're that age. They're interested in other things other than play equipment, in my opinion. The play equipment and the park equipment that we're talking about is targeted mainly mainly towards very young children and families that you see in the parks with the mums, with the dads, with other adults supervising them. So, I don't think there's going to be an awful lot of uptake if that is what we're asking these young people to actually determine. I do see that there are other things that they could do within the motion, but as I say, to me it seems a step too far. And please bear in mind that Torridge District Council have commissioned a play strategy. They are the main drivers for this. They will be the ones that will be putting in, like it or not, the lion's share of the money. We're putting some of our money in, and the Bridge Trust are very kindly put in a significant amount. But by and large, it'll be administered by the district council. We are merely there in an advisory capacity, assisting with the funding. I don't see how a youth council is going to feed into that, very well at all. So I'm sorry, I can't support that.
Thank you, Councillor Lawrence.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Does Bideford College still have its own youth council? Does anybody know? Because if they did, surely you could ask their representative to come along to a meeting and just sort of express the opinion of the youth council. Also, if you're going to include Kingsley, are you going to restrict it to children who live in the area, or because obviously that's got a bigger scale of sort of input of pupils? And to be honest, I would agree with Councillor Bushby to a certain extent. You don't just want a youth council for this particular thing. If you're going to have a youth council, you want to have a youth council that's going to be representative, and surely that should be done more on a Torridge scale rather than on a Bideford Town Council scale. That was all I was sort of saying, really.
Thank you, Councillor Corth.
Yeah, just in terms of the time commitment for our clerks, I would like to offer at least 2 hours per week voluntary from me to help run this. So I was shaking head then.
I was.
Yeah, what's the problem with me offering my time?
I don't think we should be having councillors doing any of the office work in amongst the paid professionals.
Right, okay, well I saw that as a barrier, that's why I put myself forward, because I feel really strongly about this. But anyway, so yeah, I would definitely give 2 hours a week voluntary if somebody wanted to do that with me. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Councillor Ruth Craigie.
I just wanted to support this. I did warn that it is a lot of work, but it is a very good thing to do. It's a very good idea to get young people involved in politics and to learn about society and how it runs. It's also a very good idea to get children to be engaged with their area and know that their area belongs to them and it's up to them to protect it. So I think that
Sorry, can I just interrupt there, Ruth?
Yeah.
Heather, are you picking this up, because it's very indistinct on my end?
Yeah, I can't hear Councillor Craigie very well, but right. Everything else has been okay.
Yeah, I've got problems with this laptop, but unfortunately my iPad's just died on me, so I've had to go onto my laptop. Can you hear me if I shout?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to support the idea, because I'm thinking that it's a way of getting children involved in and learning about politics, local politics, how societies run, and making them take ownership of youth clubs, play equipment, let them have a say. I think it's good. It stops them feeling, alienated from the rest of the population. And I think it would be a really good thing. I agree that we shouldn't spend a lot of officer time on it, but if we can get some volunteers to run it, and I think it will be a very good thing.
Thank you. Councillor Hellier.
I'd like to echo Councillor Bushby. I don't think that teenagers are going to be very interested in play parks, which are mainly for small children, and we don't have vast amounts of money to spend. So I think we need to be very careful. And there's also the question of, I agree with the time for our town clerk and the cost of DBS things checks. I think it'd be better to encourage young people, if they want to come along and attend the meetings and see what goes on, rather than set something up separately. So I agree with Councillor Bushby.
Thank you. Councillor Bushby, you've asked to speak again.
Yeah, just briefly, I just would like to remind members that on the couple of occasions to my knowledge when the town council have actually held meetings other than in the town hall, Bideford College being one, despite lots and lots of publicity, the Torres Council had a meeting in the theatre, in the hall, and there were 3 students in attendance, and one of those was waiting for a lift home because his mum was one of the councillors. So there's not an awful lot of interest, I think.
No, there isn't.
Right, Councillor Ruth Craigie, is your hand up from last time, or do you want to speak again?
No, could I speak again?
Yes, go on.
Thank you. Just briefly wanted to say, I think we should give it a chance, because if enough young people don't come forward, then the idea will fail by itself. But if we can get young people interested, young people are interested in climate change. It's a youth event. So I think they should be here. That Bideford will belong to them when we're long gone. And I think they have a right to say that they want things in Bideford. So I think we should give them a chance. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Nothing is lost.
Thank you. I've got no other speakers. I will just say one thing. Councillor James Craigie, when you brought this up first, you did say that there will have to be one councillor who took this on board, who will attend the meetings and all that sort of thing. I'm afraid it will have to be you.
Yeah.
It is your motion. And if it is passed, I am going to strongly suggest you find a teacher first. The council cannot organise the school kids. It will have to be through a teacher. And at the moment, with COVID and catch up and everything, I'm not sure you're going to find a teacher willing to take it on, but we'll see. Right, it has been proposed, it has been seconded. All those in favour, bearing in mind what I've just said, can you show? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Abstaining? 1. Does that add up, Heather? Sorry, you're muted, Heather.
I was sorry, I did a whole spiel. Have we still got 12 councillors here? It doesn't add up if we've still got 12.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes.
I've only got 11 votes.
Ah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I thought I count. Richard, did you count by any chance?
No, we've got 12. So could we take that again then?
Right, all those in favour, if you can show clearly. 1, 2, 3,
1, 2,
6.
3,
right, all those against.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5, yeah.
Right, so it's passed.
Okay.
Right, and I wish you luck, Councillor Craigie.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
I find it a lot more work than you consider, but we'll see. Right, item 20 on the agenda, the DALC meeting. Councillor Mrs. Craigie, have there been any meetings?
No. No meetings.
Right. I won't say I'm glad about that because your sound is still very poor. Anyway, item 21, Torridge District Council to receive an update on what Torridge has been doing. Anyone want to say anything? I mean, I think Councillor Inch hit the nail on the head earlier when he said it's a bit of a flat period. The only things really that stood out for me was 2 days of planning applications because so many have suddenly surfaced. Obviously, Brunswick Wharf was the big one. You all know what happened there. Some people, I know some of you have been approached about the chopping down of trees at the old rectory at the top of High Street. I did go up there myself, and I know other councillors went. I did get the enforcement officer to go up and check on which trees had TPOs on, and they said they were following the plans for that. You may recall, I think it was it last meeting, we passed the CE, our support, the CEE bill, this environmental bill in Parliament. Barnstaple Town Council has voted unanimously in favour. Northern Town Council has voted in favour, and I think South Molton has as well. North Devon District Council has voted in favour. The only one who hasn't is Torridge, but the Town Council did vote in favour. You're probably all aware of the ongoing jet skis query. It could come back to Bideford in case, you know, if they launch from Bank End, but we'll see about that. A lot of recent stuff at Torridge has been in part 2, so I can't really say anything about it. I don't know if any other Torridge councillors want to say anything. No. Right, I'll move on. Item 22, the British Trust. Last month, receipts were 86,000. We spent £46,000 on our estate, that's our buildings. We gave grants of £11,000. We've got unrestricted cash funds of £824,000. We gave 6 individual grants. We gave 1 book grant. The business startup interviews have restarted. I saw 4 people yesterday, and we're doing 2 meetings a month at the moment. We have a new bridge steward. And also, if you've seen the local papers, we're advertising for a new bridge warden. Any questions on the Bridge Trust? No? In that case, I'll call the meeting to an end. Thank you all for coming. And if you are standing in the county elections, I wish you luck. I'm glad I'm not. But there we are. Right. Thank you all, and see you soon.
Night.
Thank you very much.
Night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.